Now this flight is a bunch of animals. It lives, eats, fights as a pack. All this harmonizing and gatekeeping stuff is a bunch of crap. Well, those bilious faculty members who wrote in our area books about group dynamics don't know anything more about real winners than they do about sex. Now, we have the finest uniforms and dormitories, the best spirit, and the best players in the world. You know, by God, I actually pity those poor flights we're going up against. By God, I really do. We're not just going to beat them. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the soles of our turf shoes. We're going to humiliate those lousy dumb grapes by the bushel. Now, some of you are wondering whether or not you'll chicken out during the game. Well, don't worry about it. I can assure you that you will all do your duty. The other flight is the enemy. Wade into them. Spill their blood. Send them to the penalty box. When you put your hand into a bunch of goo that a moment before was your flight commander's face, you'll know what to do. Now there's another thing I want you to remember. I don't want to get any messages saying we've been cheering for our sister flight. We aren't cheering for anyone. Let the losing flights do that. We are constantly harassing the officials, and we're not interested in cheering for anyone but ourselves. In the game, we're going to punch them in the throat, poke them in the eyes, and kick them in the ass. We're going to kick the hell out of them for 8 periods and go through them like crap through a goose. Now, there's one thing that you people will be able to say when you go back to the real Air Force, and you may thank me for it. 5 weeks from now, when you're sitting around your unit coffee bar with your coworker, and he asks you, what did you do at the great SOS?
To come back as a flight commander, Colonel Golden, you spent the time and talked to me, convinced me that this would be a good assignment. I think I've had a positive impact on the 190 students that I've had the pleasure of working with. Thanks for having confidence in me. Stay seated. Now I want you to remember that no flight commander ever won the bull thrower trophy by following the easy path and being complacent and uninvolved. We won it by struggling over feedback, agony over writing assignments, and letting the other strong, tough teams defeat our team. All this stuff you heard about victory being the school solution is a lot of horse dung. Leadership is our goal. Flight commanders traditionally love to reach goals. All real flight commanders love the growth of leadership. When you were new, you all admired the confident, successful warriors, the quality morale-building teamwork, the winning attitude of success, and you treasured the group cohesion. Faculty love to teach and will not tolerate complaining. All flight commanders hate to see the students give up. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a flight that settled for second best. That's why our students will always try and will always learn from mistakes, because the very thought of letting their team down is hateful to the core. Now these students are our future leaders. They care, learn, try to improve. All this self-interest and daily complaining is a bunch of crap. Those mediocre student whiners who wrote that stuff about poor lectures on our course critiques don't know anything more about real success than they do about pride. Now, we have the finest commitment and dedication, the best spirit, and the best friendships in the world. You know, by God, I actually pity those poor students we're going up against. By God, I really do. We're not just going to teach them, we're going to set the right example and help them to earn the trust of our Air Force. We're going to motivate those eager young studs by our caring. Now, I know some of you are wondering whether or not you'll burn out in the classroom. Well, don't worry about it. I can assure you that you will all find the courage. The students' growth is our objective. Work with them. Build their skills. Send them to their jobs refreshed. When you pour your heart out into a bunch of grapes that a moment before was your most successful flight, you'll know what to do. Now, there's another thing I want you to remember. I don't want any messages saying we are changing all of our feedback plans. We're not reducing our standards. Let the weaker schools do that. We are improving the program constantly, and we are responsible and devoted to everyone in our flights. In the school, we're going to ask them to set goals, teach them to take risks, and show them how to lead. We're going to help them plan for the future and then build up their team like wolves in a pack. Now, there's one thing that you warriors will be able to say when you move on to your next tough job, and you may thank our Air Force. 5 years from now, when you're sitting around your unit briefing room with your student, and he tells you, thank you for the skills that you shared with me. You just need to say, well, I passed on the vision that others gave to me. All right now, you warriors, you keep your goals high. I will be proud to maintain the Red Pants tradition of excellence anytime, anywhere. That is all.